What comes to mind when I say Rayman? Because it better not be this. It has been a couple years since Rayman appeared in a game, let alone had his own. So to everyone's surprise and delight, he returns in a spin-off game that includes both Mario characters and Rabbids. In addition, Rayman has appeared in the new Netflix animated series Captain Laserhawk. As a result, the internet has a lot to say about it, which makes me wonder, what did I hit this morning? But there is something else that I have been meaning to say about Rayman. I'm not referring to his appearance, games, or storyline. Rather, I'm interested in his ability to adapt as a character in different mediums. It is both refreshing and impressive considering how many other gaming mascots could not walk the line Rayman has. His revival into a strategy-based game is incredible. It demonstrates how Rayman can be in any game or story as long as it has something to offer. This is why some have suggested that Rayman appears as a fighter rather than a trophy or spirit in Super Smash Bros. While in Brawlhalla, he fits the role very well. So how does Rayman manage to do this? I've been curious as to what makes this character so distinct and unique, and I am content to talk about the things he has been a part of. The thing that strikes me as so peculiar about Rayman is that despite changing significantly both as a character and within the platforming genre, he manages to remain incredibly memorable. Despite this, he has not released many new games in a few years, though he does play a major role in a different title. He is also French, so maybe that makes sense to you, I don't know. Although Rayman games have also been successful. Rayman has appeared in more 2D than 3D because of Ubisoft. More updates have been released for mobile than for any upcoming Halo game. It has been a while since Rayman has made a significant comeback, so I'm glad to see him in a whole new light. Before I go any further, let me first say that I previously made a video about Rayman. Don't watch it. I'm kidding, you can watch it if you want, but it isn't necessary for the video, and it was still in the early stages of my channel. I bring this up because, if I may say so, I am a bit of a Rayman fan.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
Rayman Origins for the Wii was my first Rayman experience. I remember watching the game's marketing and reading about it in a magazine and wondering, what did I eat for breakfast this morning? I got the game for Christmas one year and I fell in love with it. I didn't understand what was going on. All I knew was that I was trapped, I escaped, and now I saved hot girls who gave me the powers to save the world, and I win. It was also enjoyable to play, and every day after school, I would return home and play the game until my Wii broke down. Since then, I have lost an incredible system because I was simply too good at the game. So I bought a Wii U and played Rayman Legends. That game was even more enjoyable now that I think about it. But there was also something different about them. And I'm not referring to the graphics or levels. The game mechanics were similar, albeit slightly altered, but something was missing in Rayman Origins. I was curious as to why this was happening, so I went back in time to investigate. It is 1995, Rayman has become a hit, and Ubisoft has struck gold with this character, a 2D platformer set in Rayman's world, with a colorful and intriguing cast of characters. The game introduced fun levels and a goal to save the creatures known as Electoons. While the game became a popular title, it also provided many players with first-hand knowledge of the world in which they played. This magician introduces the game's plot and characters, as well as the story for players to motivate them to save these creatures and defeat our enemy. You would gain special abilities, save the Electoons, masterfully navigate each level, and defeat the bosses. It piqued our interest after we finished it, and we were eager to see what this game had in store for us next. Boy, do I have news for you. It's 1999, Rayman 2: The Great Escape released, and we can forget what happened in the first game because Rayman 2 did. Sorry. This game has nothing to do with the first. I'm not joking when I say I have never heard anyone complain about how the sequel completely disregards the first game. So it was a fever dream and we just woke up to find ourselves in this situation. Rayman 2: Oppression. This game was really good actually. Everything was different right away. Because the transition of Rayman from 2D to 3D proved difficult for Ubisoft developers, many changes were made and the story evolved into a completely wondrous experience that I adore. New characters were introduced, but Rayman remained his heroic self, while retaining his abilities from the first game to the sequel. It is also a much larger world to explore and collect lums that can improve your health, abilities, and access areas. At the same time, another character assists you in gaining your powers. The addition of voice acting elevated this game above the first by giving characters more personality and allowing for both humorous and touching moments. Plus the music, oh my god, the music is fantastic. While the antagonist was as threatening, if not more so, than the previous Mr. Dark, Razorbeard has a better villain name and fits his overall design. Rayman 2 also adds new mechanics and fun puzzles for players to solve to progress. The game is riveting and alters Rayman's dynamic, making it a gaming classic. Rayman was once again a big hit for various consoles and ports for each version, creating this new style of Rayman that we'll continue to use in the future. Well, the joke's on you. In 2008, Rayman 3 Hoodlum Havoc was released. That's right, you woke up from a dream within a dream. Inception, baby. Because Ubisoft lacks continuity, Rayman 3 changes the script yet again. However, this game is also very good. Rayman is back in another 3D adventure, and while some characters from the previous game return, the writing changes the tone of the game. We have some satire and some slapstick humor, so we do not have much to say about oppression. The plot revolves around hoodlums, a new and terrifying threat that can combine their abilities to form villains and amalgamations. It is up to Rayman to save the day and his friend Globox from whatever he's going through. You're given brand new abilities from a can of
Bush's baked beans
called combat fatigues. You'll encounter each one to help you on the journey and provide you with an advantage against your enemies. This new installment lacks a hub world and instead plays more as a closed world where you can look around but had to progress the plot. The graphics are improved over the second, allowing the characters to be more expressive and have more detail to match the cartoon aesthetic. This is one of my favorite Rayman games because it was so different and fun from the first two games. It was a brave decision to try something new and give these characters more creative freedom to make them interesting to watch. This was how the game was meant to be played. These don't count. Trust me, when this was announced, everything changed. Well, so did Rayman Origins. And no, it is not Rayman 4. I'm sorry, little one. Ubisoft wanted the Rayman franchise to return to form, making a new 2D platformer that 4 of your friends can play together, as well as employing a new artistic style that looks beautiful and provides artists and designers with new ideas to incorporate, while introducing the creation of UbiArt. The team made successful games from both Rayman Origins and Legends. Since then, Rayman remained silent. There was no word on a AAA game being released, only mobile games, until Rayman was revived. Although it is not his own game, it was an incredible sight to see Rayman join a strategy-based game with the Rabbids. These little devils who ruined freaking Rayman's life, I mean, come on. But they made up, so I'm not too upset. The developers were already a huge fan of Rayman, and the artists quickly got to work creating animations, designs, and placing references almost everywhere. They even went as far as to ensure Rayman was fully expressive and tweaked his design to almost match his previous iterations. There is no way they have not already begun development on the next Rayman game. I'm looking forward to seeing him at his best. Each Rayman game adds something to the mix that both provides the best experience for players and gives newcomers an idea of what Rayman is like. He is also appealing to everyone because he's such a fun character, and to see what he is capable of and how he manages to slightly or completely change. But that's not all Rayman can do to remain such a great character while only appearing in the games.
Hey!
Rayman has had some amusing and bizarre moments in each installment, and there's always been something about him that made him eventually become part of TV. Now, here's something unusual. Rayman had an animated TV series after the release of Rayman 2. This show had 13 episodes planned but was quickly cancelled after only 4 were aired. It was filled with new characters and voice acting, and it was fully 3D animated. When asked why it was cancelled, an animator on the show responded with something about high costs and marketing reasons. It's a shame because this show looked great for the time and was funny and charming. The show appeared to be doing a lot of adventurous things, and the cast was all interesting and unique in their own way. I would have liked to see how everything turned out in all the episodes, but I would like to reiterate why this works and why Rayman even having a TV show works for me. Rayman in a series would work because he's not just a cartoon character, he's become relatable to us in certain ways. He's not a super strong, muscular hero. Rayman strikes me as a methodical character who learns to use and adapt to his surroundings. Some may argue that Rayman works better alone. However, that isn't entirely true. He has shown some strength, but it does not reflect his character. His companions are what elevate his character, and how he treats others best reflects Rayman. And he is always willing to risk his own life to protect and save his friends. He even trusts them to a point where he can rely on them to help him on his journey. For example, when Globox is placed in the same cell as a means of locating Rayman, Rayman is relieved to learn that his friend is safe and well. We enjoy this character all the more because we can empathize with him. The same concept can be seen in Rayman's animated series, where Rayman is willing to help everyone and stop those who choose to enslave or harm others. It's who he is, but there's another part of him that makes him understandable. Rayman appears to be more mature and experienced in his adventurous ways in Rayman 3 and the Sparks of Hope. You can tell he is not too stressed about villains attempting to take over because he has been in similar situations before. I would like to think that the developers and the artists keep this in mind with each new game. Rayman is accustomed to most things changing, whereas his friends would struggle to deal with these new issues. Still, he is willing to ensure their safety and protection from the threats. Throughout the game, he continues to use various abilities that help him, and they can be entertaining as well as useful. The game is also comical at times, and it works. I mean, look at him and what happens in these games. It's silly, but it's still fun. It strikes a balance between a quirky character and an apprehensive environment to keep the game interesting. This is what I felt Rayman Origins lacked when I played it. You have been thrown into this game with no context and are expected to understand it. I'm a kid who has never played a Rayman game before, and I'm wondering if this is all there is to it. I simply wasn't satisfied, and I understand why I preferred the 3D Rayman games, because they provided an exciting experience with a narrative that accentuates Rayman as a character and has such a profound story that makes the games more iconic. I heard Rayman Origins had a story once, but it was scrapped, possibly due to the difficulty of crafting a plot for a game this wild. So when Rayman returned in a DLC pack for a different game, I was excited to see him again, and the team nailed it. You could tell how much time and effort went into creating this one hero and honoring him with the levels. So to my surprise, Rayman would not only appear in a game, but also appear in a Netflix series. So now I would like to discuss Laserhawk, a Netflix series with 6 episodes that gives Rayman an arc, which is both exciting and strange, considering Rayman could have been anyone else. However, I enjoyed this take on Rayman when I watched it. Now, major spoilers for those who haven't seen the series. I recommend that you watch it and then return to this video. There are only 6 episodes and it'll be worth your time. If you have a different opinion, please share it in the comment section. Laserhawk is set in a 1992 alternate history in which the United States has been transformed into Eden, a dystopian technological world ruled by megacorporations. In the show, humans and anthropomorphic hybrids coexist in Eden. Rayman in this show is an alien who's a refugee from another dimension and has been discriminated against because of his appearance. But Rayman wants to help people and tries to make a difference for people to like him. Eden then offers Rayman the chance to be the face of it as a friendly host, spreading news and information about current events as well as advertising products. This already smells like propaganda to us because we see a side of Rayman in these episodes that none of us expected.
I said what I said. Really? Then why don't you say it to my face without cameras, you fucking red brick?
Yes, this is Rayman, and the internet had a field day with it. I have seen a variety of reactions to this show and how awesome Rayman is, while others think he's gone downhill. The problem I discovered was that some people were posting this series while others did not get the full context, which irritated me because you should at least watch the show to form an opinion. Rayman is portrayed as a high-spirited character who wishes to spread joy but fails to see the truth. What turned out to be the worst screen moment of his career was an escape from this miserable corruption. He becomes aware of his reality after getting drunk, snorting a line, and making other questionable decisions. Aside from that, he realizes what he's been doing and decides to take matters into his own hands. Rayman going insane was not on my bingo card, but I can say how awesome his arc turned out to be and how he is a character we can empathize with and understand the mistakes he made and became a part of. He never intended to hurt people, but if those who hurt innocent people are those he wishes to protect, Rayman will step in. I've noticed that some people dislike this version of Rayman, or Ramon. I understand, and that's fine because he will find you and kill you. But seriously, I understand why some people think Rayman would not fit in this corrupted society, except the writers kept a part of Rayman who wants to do good differently. You also need to keep in mind that he endured prejudice and cruel treatment upon his arrival on Earth. Red calling him and his kind alien scum has sufficiently angered Rayman to lash out at him once more. Even though his nature eventually changes, Rayman's world is shattered, and he now has to see the truth of what he's become a part of. And what better way to do so than to be used and discarded by the people he worked with? This show did an outstanding job, and the plot and the story were fantastic, taking risks and doing outlandish things to the characters they created for the older demographic. Now, this show revolves more around Laserhawk and his team, but if the showrunners make Rayman another character to be part of a story, I believe there's a lot more they will do with him. So long as Netflix does not cancel this series, or I riot. There ought to be a new 2D or 3D Rayman animated series. In my opinion, the Ubisoft team should give him another chance because he has the potential to serve the audience. There have always been different origin stories for Rayman, but I would like to see another interpretation of the character that offers an original story and takes the audience on an adventure that makes use of these entertaining tales and spooky fables that fit into this world. The franchise is no stranger to folklore and mythical creatures, which is how Rayman's creator came to create him in the first place. Rayman, like most video game mascots, is timeless and can stand on his own. If they created a series with the characters from the 3 Rayman games, I would not mind at all. In some way, it would be fantastic to see them all together. It could inspire tons of ideas for episodes for each of them or just to get along. I would like to see some heartfelt or wholesome moments akin to Rayman's character, and the show doesn't have to be serious. It should embrace an artistic style and include some humor as it always does. What's to say Rayman can't have a series if the Rabbids can? I want to highlight the incredible work that the Rayman community has done in producing original content and bringing their fanfiction to life. I adore everyone's concepts and original works of art. If Ubisoft were considering to create a TV series, they ought to consider hiring some of these creators to help brainstorm ideas or develop potential episodes. Maybe it will be successful. We'll just have to wait and see.